Firstly, it's not so cold that my fingers should be turning white and vacuum sealing in. See the way they draw in? They get so cold that it hurts badly, and so it's not just numb and can't feel them. No, they hurt intensely. And sometimes, spreads to all of them, and then my nose and my ears, the tips of my ears and the tips of my nose will start to do it. That's always lovely, but that's been a long time since that happened. Now, it would look like circulation or, neuropathy, I guess. And I must say that this finger's the worst, and I'm right-handed, and that finger's been injured the most in just doing things and gotten the most, injury to it, so that makes sense in that regard, that scar tissue and such. The twisting, though, there's a twisting action to the vacuum sealing thing too, and it relates to like the lumps as well. There's quite a lump right here in this finger that I don't know what it is. It's probably the implant, you track me with for some fucking reason. We must know everything you do at all times. Put it in the database. The master control program will want to review it. But wait, the master control program reviews everything at all times in real time, so it already has reviewed it the moment it is entered. Right? Anyway. So back here in the real world, this is cold related, because it can be brought on by, going out in the cold or getting my hands, when it was quite icy here a little while ago. It would come and go, but it happens in the summer as well. Just if it rains, seems to do more with the humidity change and somewhat to do with the cold than anything else, or possibly my ears ringing and the microwave ULF waves / morning, afternoon, evening dew aspect. Could be. It's hard to prove, right? I can't, enter the ringing in my brain and cranial area that's, associated with the nearness of airplanes or aircraft in general, and or my proximity to a power substation, or the time of the day it is, or the area of town I'm in. It's kind of hard to show that in any real way. But when I have so many symptoms that come on, and they all happen at the same time. I shouldn't say only. They all occur at the same time. It's not like I have, this problem here and then my headache or ringing in my ears, or my joints feel like they're going to give out for some unspecified reason, or something in my back, or whatever the case may be. It just compounds. All of these things just kind of sink in all at once, and there's usually quite a bit of traffic in the area at the time, air traffic, I mean. When I'm way out in the woods to where there's really very little air traffic above me, I start to unwind from this stuff, and I feel almost normal sometimes. And this doesn't happen particularly. This is associated with the fibrous stuff that I say is, vaporizes off my skin, and it's not hair that's going. It's more than, the hair does get pretty much singed off, but it only goes so far. Yet there's still this vaporous smoke that comes off long after the hair has been reduced to its minimum whatever. And there's the throbbing on my pulse there. That always kicks in when this is happening. There's always the throbbing. And for the record, for the 100th time probably, that little throbbing right there is not normal. You're not supposed to be able to just look at your wrist and take your pulse. If I was to look, it's doing the same thing visibly at my elbow. It's doing the same thing visibly under my arm. It's doing the same thing visibly on my neck if I'm at the right angle. I can feel it down my spine. I can feel it everywhere in my body, really. That used to be this entire area where it's, there's a line right here where the hair like follows this shape, that it grows in, the direction it grows in, the grain, I guess you'd say, and it outlines the wrist. And on the other side, there's the lump. It's hard to see now because so much of it's gone, but a little more visible on this side. Like the tendon or something became extra thick along there, and that's not right either. But that's all of these things happened at once, kind of. The vacuum sealing is starting to let up there now. Does that seem normal for neuropathy? I don't know. I'm gonna have to look into it a little deeper, I guess. Should you be able to just toast your hands over a heater and your neuropathy goes away? Someone told me, like, oh, it's circulation problems, like maybe with your heart. And I'm like, yeah, well, there is my pulse thing going to about 120 beats per minute, pretty much on the dot nearly every time that it happens. And I'll just it really comes on certain hours too, like about 2:33 a.m. It's a good time for that. I'll just be laying there, and all of a sudden, dum 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 dum. It's all quiet, and I'll just hear it in my ears. Feel like I'm, can't quite catch my breath properly. It's ridiculous. And I've looked up the effects of directed energy weapons upon targets, and it's chronic fatigue, and it's anxiety, irritability, brain fog, joint pains, and then you get the skin pain at certain levels, and then but it's mental things before it's ever physical. And it's the 0.3 to 3 gigahertz range, according to the HARP data, that interacts with brain waves. It's because it's a resonant of it. It's a quarter or a whatever, half, quarter, eighth, 16th, 32nd, 100 and something, 164th, whatever. It's in resonance, and it can affect brainwave frequency, and that's what all this brain mapping stuff has been about with the MRIs and stuff since Obama and on since then, was to figure out exactly what frequency does what to what part of the brain and how that reacts in the person. And when you hear about all of the slaves and children selling and trading and horrible things that the elites apparently are into, don't think that they're all sex slaves. It's experimentation for their understanding what nerve does what in a brain. They need live subjects like they did in the concentration camps to test out their theories on, so they can figure out and write down and get to know all this stuff real well. And that's what a lot of it goes to. It's horrible and horrifying to think about, so most people don't, and I try not to. But yeah, there's always that aspect to. It's the same group, you see. The same group that runs everything in the world, all the corporations, is at the top of all the colleges and all of the governments, at least all the ones that went along with the CV-19, which was pretty much all of them, even ones that don't believe anything the U.S. says and openly hate our guts and burn our flags in public. Suddenly they believed everything we had to say about that, though, and they got right in line and put their people in some dog kennels and got right on board real fast, just like everybody else in the civilized world who knows that vaccines are saving lives every single day, and that, well, the human race might just disappear without them. So go, thank your doctor, and if he'll let you get, social distancing allowing, give him a hug and thank him for all his hard work and selfless service to humanity. And it's, because they don't work for the money, they work to help people. They like to help people, and it's just these new modern tests are so expensive because it's such, complicated machinery that they use. That's the reason it costs so much money for this, healthcare we have. But it's the greatest in the world, and we should never lose sight of that. Thank you. Have a nice day.